Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. Epictetus. In our recent philosophy reading group, we revisited one of the foundational teachings of Stoicism, the distinction between what lies within our control and what does not. This idea, often referred to in modern circles as the dichotomy of control, comes from the early chapters of Epictetus's Enchiridion. But while many today interpret it as a coping strategy for life's unpredictability, that interpretation risks missing the true depth of what Epictetus was actually teaching. Rather than focusing on how to emotionally detach from external circumstances, I've come to see that the heart of Epictetus's message is not about what is not in our control, it's about what is. He does not simply mean we should be calm when things go wrong. Instead, he draws a clear line around the realm of true ownership, our agency, and insists that this is the only domain that truly matters. Let's recall the famous opening from the Enchiridion, often quoted but rarely absorbed in full. Some things are within our power, while others are not. Within our power are opinion, motivation, desire, aversion, and in a word, whatever is of our own doing. Not within our power are our body, our property, reputation, office, and in a word, whatever is not of our own doing. Modern interpretations have turned this into a motivational cliche. Don't stress over what you can't control. While this is useful advice in its own right, it reduces Stoicism to a therapeutic tool, overlooking the moral and philosophical foundation of Epictetus's thought. His focus is not stress management, it's ethical responsibility. You are fully responsible for your intentions, for your judgments, and for your efforts to live virtuously. That's not just good advice, it's the entire point. What has happened in modern times is that we've taken the dichotomy of control, a label not used by Epictetus himself, and twisted it into a formula. This simplification has led to misunderstandings and even dissatisfaction. Some Stoics today argue that the dichotomy is too rigid, too absolute. Shouldn't we recognize that some things are partially in our control? Take health, for example. Isn't it at least somewhat within our influence? This was exactly the argument one member of our reading group raised. He found Epictetus too uncompromising, claiming that things like health can't be purely outside our control. This line of thinking has given rise to what's now called the trichotomy of control, a term popularized by William B. Irvine. This model adds a third category, things we partially control, but in doing so, it muddies the clarity that Epictetus was fighting to preserve. Epictetus never describes control in terms of percentages. He uses the language of sovereignty, what is yours, what is free, what cannot be taken from you. When he says the body is not ours, he doesn't mean we shouldn't care for it. He means it is not truly ours in the way our reason and will are. You can choose to care for your health, and you should, but the outcomes of that care are subject to countless variables beyond your control. Personally, I'm deeply committed to my physical well-being. I work out vigorously 4 times a week. I eat healthy food, avoid junk, and prioritize rest. These choices reflect my values, my discipline, and my intentions, all of which are fully mine. But what happens to my body in the end? That's a matter of probability, not certainty. A genetic disorder, an accident, or a hidden disease could still strike. I can tip the scales, but I can't command the outcome. And so, even as I act with full intent, I accept that the result is not mine. Consider this, if you roll loaded dice that tend to land on 6, are you in control of the outcome? No, you've only influenced the odds. Control, in the Stoic sense, means certainty, sovereignty over your inner world. Any talk of some control over external matters quickly collapses into confusion. What does some mean? That you control part of the outcome or the likelihood? Either way, you are still not in control in the sense that matters to Epictetus. You might point to medicine and say taking insulin or statins to prevent illness and say, look, here's something within our control. But even here, your control ends at the decision to take the drug. The effect it has? That's nature's domain. Even a 99.9% effective treatment leaves room for failure, which proves that you are not truly in control of the result. What we do own completely is our intent. And that intent matters more than anything else. It's not about guaranteeing health, success, or happiness. It's about living with integrity in the choices you make, despite uncertainty. This is the core of Stoic ethics. Intend to be healthy. Make rational, disciplined choices. Do your part, not because it ensures an outcome, but because it is right. When I speak of agency, I mean it in the deepest Stoic sense, not a vague empowerment mantra, but the inner citadel, the unshakable core of your being. That's what Epictetus is protecting. And when we start saying we have some control over external things, we weaken that boundary. We start imagining that outcomes belong to us. And that leads directly to disappointment, grief, and anxiety. The desire to control what is ultimately uncontrollable is the root of suffering. Epictetus was clear. True freedom lies in understanding the limits of our power and investing our full attention and responsibility in the domain we truly own, our choices, judgments, and values. So when it comes to health or anything external, be like the wise tenant. Care for the rented room, treat it with respect, but never mistake it for your own. The body is a vessel, not the captain. The captain is you, and your steering hand lies in your reasoned intent.